Did we check the microphone? Are we live?
I don't know, are we? I hope so. If I did everything right. Yeah, we're live.
People of the world, we are the three philosophers. We're here to talk about everything. We're here to talk about nothing. We're here to talk about, hopefully, something that interests you, opens your mind, makes you think for a second. Maybe makes you realize there's people out there like you. You're not alone. Let's do this.
Cool. Is my poem up?
It's poem time.
I don't think I've read this one before. We'll see. Heaven is eternal, earth is lasting. The reason why heaven and earth are eternal and lasting is because they do not live for themselves. That is the reason they will ever endure. Therefore, the wise man will keep his personality out of sight, and because of doing so, he will become notable. He subordinates his personality, and therefore it is preserved. It is not because he is disinterested that his own interests are conserved. That ends in a question.
Cool. Okay, everyone out there on Facebook land, YouTube land, we have a new addition to the Three Philosophers. The little mascot here. She's asleep. I'm gonna wake her up. She needs a name. So we're taking requests. Make sure you comment on this video and tell us what we should name our little female canine philosopher. She's so cute. Okay, she's gonna go back to sleep now. We'll talk about rat races.
E equals MC squared. Oh, you know, I learned it's actually written in Einstein's paper, Relativity, M is equal to E over C squared.
Interesting. And that
mass. Mass is equal to, it's a paper about mass. And mass doesn't mean like the actual mass, it's rest mass.
Right.
So if there's one clock that's on and there's one clock that's off, even though they're identical clocks, the clock that is on is going to have a higher rest mass.
Because it's on.
Yeah, because there's shit moving and creating...
There's motion.
Yeah, creating heat.
So tonight we're drinking 20-year-old Centenario rum. This is a product of Costa Rica. It's their flagship Pride and Joy. It's 20 years old, as it says, and it tastes like candy.
It would be super nice if somebody...
Yeah.
Oh, this one? I thought that was my second one. Hold on. Let me take a big sip of this. Oh, you...
Wait,
Were you wanting this?
I mean, please.
Considering this is Sean's.
Oops.
Okay, so tonight is a...
Oh, my uncle watches. Hey.
Peace, Uncle.
Tell us when you want me to come visit. Us to come visit.
Road trip of the Three Philosophers down to Tampa, Florida. Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
So tonight's the full moon. Native Americans call it a worm moon. You want to know why?
No.
Why?
So when the full moon comes out, worms leave their castings and like surface, and that's why like today, if you notice, like robins were freaking everywhere in like swarms, and they were like digging around in the dirt.
Oh, that's great. I saved a worm yesterday. That was in the parking lot.
That's why it was in the parking lot.
Yeah. That's
Full
weird.
full moons cause worms to, like go crazy.
That's weird.
Isn't it?
I need some worms.
Yeah.
For my roses, yeah.
Let's talk about rat race.
What about it?
So I was thinking today, as young kids came in, these two like super young, early 20s kids came in, wearing their Guy Harvey, penny loafers, the standard uniform that douches wear.
The uppity
I
redneck.
buy my friends at college, people.
Yeah, completely. And they come pulling up in a Hummer H2, and they're like all of 22.
Oh, yeah.
Those things still exist.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, it's like, look at me, I'm XS. It's probably Daddy's leftover car. So anyway.
Daddy's leftover.
Look at me, I get 5 miles to the gallon.
Right. So I was thinking,
It's gonna stuck.
and there's parents out there, and you may not want to admit this to yourselves, but my guess is the uber aggressive, successful air quotes, ambitious parents, right?
Mm.
When they have children, do you think that they sit down? Let's say I'm a doctor and my wife's a PhD professor, right? Those type, and I live on a private gated community, and I have a boat and I have a motorhome and we have $100,000 plus cars and we're all into the stock market and the type.
Yeah.
They have children.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that they sit around and think, I want young Brett to be happy and fulfilled in his life? Or do they think, I want young Brett to go to Harvard because I went to Harvard? And I think young Brett should get a PhD because I got a PhD. And young Brett should climb the ladder and keep up with the Joneses and have perfect hairstyle and perfect teeth and dress a certain way and talk a certain way and have certain
Perfect
manners.
beard style I got.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know the type. I suspect that in their heart, and it's sad, it's kind of sad to me, why wouldn't you be happy with, and they're all going to tell you, they're going to say, oh, well, I just want my kid to be happy, if they're forced to answer that question.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the truth is, and let's be real, especially in capitalist America, they probably just want young junior or juniorette to be more successful, I make more money and whatever than I was, right? They want their kids to be better than they were, but in a capitalistic, kind of narcissistic, financial way. What are you guys' thoughts?
That's the game, man. People like that are just A+ game players. Really at the individual level, nothing actually matters. Except playing the game and getting wherever in the game. Because, nothing else really exists outside of that.
But don't you think that's odd that you have prodigy, right? You have your, fruit of your loins. You have your mini-me.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind, you shouldn't care if that kid wants to be a saxophone player,
mm-hmm.
and only makes $20,000 a year. If that's what your child's ultimate goal and dream, and they're good at it and they love it, who cares if they're driving a Mercedes, or who cares that they have a 6,000 square foot house? And if they're happy, they're happy. One of our podcasts, we talked about how we're all jealous of kids that are like 10 and know what they want to be when they grow up.
Oh yeah, fuck those little kids.
Right?
You're gonna be a doctor. 30 years later, they're a doctor and they own a hospital.
But how many? Okay, so let's
kid.
look at this scenario.
How did you know that?
How many of those little kids? Let's say it's not a doctor. What if that little kid just wants to be an artist? How many of those kids are twisted by their, again, uber aggressive, ladder climbing, gotta fucking keep up with the Joneses, climb the ladder, be whatever, crush those dreams and say, no, you don't make any money as an artist, you need to be X or you need to be Y.
Well, yeah, like everything in the game has washed away the art people. It's like I have heard or seen no artist within the recent 10 years that was actually an artist that captured people's whatever at all. I can't even include musicians in that, because musicians don't even make music anymore. They just have that set rhythm that people fucking go, oh, Nito.
Right. Can you dance to it?
Yeah, and then they fucking say words to it. Oh, yeah, whoa. That's number one.
I know several artists.
Top of the list for
the
8
problem
years
is
now.
they do that as a hobby. They would like to be able to do it, but they do it as a hobby because everything's so expensive. In the past, let's see if you guys know the answer to this. So how did Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo and Mozart live? Do you know how they lived? Meaning how they got a house, got an apartment, got meals.
Work for churches, because churches had the most money back then.
Generally what happened, and this is interesting because this is kind of where the Patreon website comes from, is in the past, rich people gave back to society. And when you became successful, if you were a monarch, if you were a duke, or if you were just a rich merchant, it was expected, society expected you to be a patron to the arts. And so you chose, that was how you showed success. Is, yeah, I made money, but it wasn't about the money back in the day. I'm talking 14, 15, 16, 17 centuries. It was about how did I contribute artistically to society? Well, I'm Duke Brett, and I sponsor this cat named Mozart.
Yeah,
and look how good
now
he is.
His music's everywhere.
Exactly.
You're welcome, society.
Exactly.
For the money that I did.
That's how they contributed. Nowadays, it's like, fuck you, dog eat dog. It's all about me. Why have one private jet when I can have two? Why have a 100-foot yacht when I can have a 120-foot yacht? None of the rich people today, especially in America, give back. In the past, you were considered a patron of the arts, right? And that's where Patreon, that's where that name comes from. And that's how it works, is, we're looking for Patreon, right? We're looking for someone to fund our endeavors. Well, Michelangelo, Mozart, Da Vinci, all of the famous people you can think of, even scientists in the early days, right? Because there wasn't an occupation for that. Galileo, for instance.
The world is round.
And for instance, Columbus, right? Columbus went to the king and queen of Spain and shopped his idea, his theory, and they funded it for him.
Yeah, here, take 3 boats, bro.
So back in the old days, the rich supported people, and they didn't look at them as poor. They didn't look at Da Vinci as being poor. Nowadays, if you don't make X number of dollars, you're just scum.
Yeah,
you're a piece of whale turd.
That is gross.
So where did it go wrong? What happened? And you wonder why nothing's beautiful. Name me something pretty architecturally that you've seen in the past 10, 15 years in America.
I don't pay too much attention to architecture, but I don't think we have made anything that was supposed to be for prettiness. It was all made for usage.
Exactly. It's all function over form, over beauty. If you go to Europe, there's these grand cathedrals and Capitol buildings and Colosseums, and there's all these beautiful things.
Well, that also has to deal with our society demolishing old historic sites and building up shit that's more functioning.
Exactly.
So we're destroying stuff that was left that was beautiful, and
so
making shit that's ugly.
I have a theory. So Brett had his mushroom theory. I have a theory on why America, the U.S. specifically, is the way it is. You ready?
Yeah.
So you know that there's certain types of people, if you've been around them. Have you ever been around skydivers or snowboarders or people that are super...
One of the guys I worked with was a skydiver.
Yeah. They're a different cat, right?
Yeah, he was cool as shit.
But they're different, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're just kind of... Something's off. Like, they're the adrenaline junkies is what I'm talking about. Thrill seekers.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy wasn't one of those.
But have you ever met someone that's just like an uber thrill seeker, adrenaline junkie?
I don't know if I can name one offhand.
Really?
I couldn't. I can't think of it.
I mean, I understand the person you're talking about, though. Yeah.
So I've been skydiving twice, and I remember the very first time I showed up, and it was the last day that this agency was doing their skydiving. They had to move, and they tied one on, and I didn't know that because I'd already paid. And I show up, and they're all hungover. They were. I mean, it's just a certain breed of person that's just kind of reckless. Thrill seeker. Yeah, crazy. Yeah.
Fucking crazy.
Okay. So, if you think about it, Europe today, they value intellectualism.
Yeah.
They still value the art, right? They just, Europe has a different feel than America today, right?
Yeah.
However, comma, most of our forefathers in America, unless you're 100% Native American, have European heritage. But as we just discussed, no one in America really, I mean, very rarely do we, as a society generally, and this is obviously a generalization, but we don't value art, right? We don't value Ellis Island. I went to Ellis Island, and there's like 16 buildings on Ellis Island where all the immigrants came.
Yeah.
There's one building that you're allowed in because all the other ones are condemned because we're letting them rot. We have no appreciation, to your point, to our past, right?
Yeah. Nobody gives a shit.
So why is that? Here's my theory. The stay-home people, the people who were mature and intellectuals and like to read a good book, drink a nice wine, right? Those aren't your adventurers, right? So when people said, hey, there's a new continent way across the ocean, you may make it, you may not, it may take 3 or 4 months to get there, you might die on the way.
Scurvy.
What kind of person came to America? Kind of your dumb jock, anti-intellectual thrill seeker, right?
Yeah.
Your gun-toting John Wayne motherfucker, right?
People who can work on a boat.
Your college professor stayed where
That's
he
work.
was.
That's work.
So then your gene pool, right? Your kids and their kids stayed in Europe. So who came to America was your thrill-seeking, damn the torpedoes,
I guess
fuck immigrants, I got a gun. I think that defines our culture. I think the type of people that came here, because we were a land of adventurers and people running away, right? They were running away from debt. They were running away from religious persecution. A lot of them were running away from the law. They were lawbreakers, right, that came here to settle.
Yeah.
And then when the gold rush came, then they came here just to make money. Gold. So the intellectuals, the people who appreciated art, the people who were okay with some nudity, right, stayed and had kids, and then their kids had kids, and that's Europe today. And the dumb jocks came and settled America and had kids, and then they had kids, and that's where we're at today. That's my theory.
Oh,
You could also say that those it was mainly people just trying to escape government. Instead of just thrill seekers, it was just people trying to get away from.
But think of it. There's no other society today that is as pro-gun as the U.S.
Look at what happened to Australia.
Exactly.
That was one massacre. It was never even a massacre, and they banned guns like the next day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And their crime rate went from I love my guns, but look at the numbers. Their crime rate went down drastically when they got rid of guns.
And the other thing is, we just seem to be. We're not into art. We could care less about art. We could care less about longevity, how long a building lasts. And honestly, the U.S.
Look at our cars.
We don't seem seem to give a shit about the next generation.
They're made to be broken.
It's all about me now. Again, rat race.
If it's made to be broken, then you got to buy another one.
Well, you know what that's called?
That's more money for people.
There's a term for that.
For
dickheadism.
It's called planned obsolescence.
Oh.
That is calculated in manufacturing, because that's my background is manufacturing, right? And they plan obsolescence into the process. So a light bulb, it says right there on the thing, this will last 100,000 hours or 500,000 hours.
Yeah.
The 500,000 hour light bulb is going to be more, right?
Yeah.
So right now, as we speak, in San Francisco, in a fire station, there is an original Thomas Edison light bulb from the 1890s that hangs in the stairwell from the bunkhouse down to what used to be horse and buggy fire trucks, but now obviously they're modern. And since 1890 all the way to today, it's good luck, and if you don't do it, it's like, and fire people are kind of superstitious, is when you get a call to go to a fire and you're hauling ass out of the bunkhouse, you're coming down the stairs, they don't have the poles, they've got stairs. They come down and they tap that light bulb that's hanging. They
Oh,
tap
yeah.
it for good luck and then get on the truck and go. They've been doing this
Does it still work?
since
Like
1890,
it still turns on?
and it is on.
Wow.
This is an 1890 Tom. Look this up. Google this.
I mean, check out just like cars. Like 1970 cars, even before, are made to last.
I don't understand why GE and all these people making these light bulbs. You should be ashamed of your fucking self. If Thomas Edison can make a light bulb in 1890 something and it's still burning today, and you sell me a light bulb that lasts a month and it's 2017 with all our technology and ingenuity, fuck you.
Yeah, well, you got, the new thing is the LED light bulbs that only last you 20 years now.
Right. Right. And that's like a big thing.
Yeah.
I mean, LEDs are the fucking coolest for hydroponic growing.
Yeah.
I mean,
They
it's
make the most,
you know, if you make
light
something
spectrum.
to purposely break, i.e., you make a car that just so coincidentally starts breaking down after the end of your 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty.
Correct.
Isn't that funny how that just dramatically it's fine, and then all of a sudden on year 4, shit starts going.
It's like Toyotas, man. Every time a Toyota breaks down, it's always a fucking fuel pump or a timing belt.
So if you're planning obsolescence just for jobs, fuck you.
Wow, that was super aggressive.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, that is
We
pretty
need to,
ridiculous,
That
though.
is.
as a people, and I was talking to Yoda today. Yoda, if you're out there watching, you might know who you are. He always gets Erdinger.
No, Hofbra.
Yeah.
Hofbra.
He came in and was talking today, and he was basically just talking about how, you know, we've gotten to a situation where we don't protest, we just lay down and take it, right? We don't stand up. We talked about how, again, back to the Europeans, is, you know, France right now, this week, shut down all the airports because the airport workers went on strike over wages.
Mhm.
And the whole country just...
No, I'll be super honest with you. This whole week I was like, I'm not doing news or politics at all this week. I took a break.
Good for you, man.
Yeah,
That's healthy.
Sometimes it just gets too much.
Yeah, that's healthy.
Yeah, you gotta
You're
take a
like,
break.
Jesus Christ, too much ridiculous is going on.
For
I mean, I
donkeys.
did just scoop into it a little bit with,
Relapsed.
yeah, when I was like, okay, let me watch like a couple hours of news and see what's going on.
It's just crazy how subservient and sheeple we've become. We don't stand up for anything, but we bitch a lot. I mean, there's shitloads of trolls on the internet, right? On Twitter and Facebook and wherever that just troll people who give a shit about shit.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone who stands for anything gets trolled. If you stand up and,
Yeah.
and you're concerned about something, if you're
Well, the
concerned about the
troll's
environment,
idea is that if I can say words that upset you,
Oh, me and him were
I
talking
win.
about that too.
yeah, I win and you're stupid because words shouldn't upset you. So, haha, your fault.
well, but even beyond that, it's odd that if you stand for something that's not going with the flow, like if you try to bug the system at all, I mean, it's like, and it's weird because the movies that make all the money, like Hunger Games, right? Hunger Games was a huge box office smash, and it was anti-statism. You know, it was about the rebels standing up, right? Red Dawn was about, you know, kids taking on, you know, I mean, there's movie after movie after movie after movie supporting the hero is a leftist, is a liberal, people. A liberal. Yeah, I use that word.
Ooh.
You know, all the heroes that we have are liberals. But us as society, if you've run into a real liberal, right, they're fucking ridiculed.
You're an idiot.
You're an idiot. You're a leftist fucking... What are you, communist?
For sure.
What
Well-
do you mean our taxes should pay for other people's shit, you idiot?
First of all, communism,
I mean, look,
there is no such thing as a communist country. There never has been on the history of the earth. Look it up. If you look at communist China, they're not communist. They're totalitarianism, and there's a difference. Stalin was a totalitarian dictator. Lenin was a totalitarian dictator. communism as a theory, as a concept, as an ideology, is utopia.
Oh yeah.
That Karl Marx who made that up?
Well, he was one of the founders, of the concept.
Yeah, his rich friend funded his books.
See, I go beyond that, though. If you think about it and grasp on this for a second, we call communism, and what does that mean? That means sharing, right? Communal.
Yeah.
Communes, hippie communes, or communism, right? Okay, there's an anthropological term for old tribalism, African tribes, Native American tribes. They call it egalitarianism. But you know what it means?
What?
Everyone's equal.
Everyone's equal is communism. Really, the history of humans, we all started as communists.
Yeah, that's what.
That's how you survived.
That's
You
what-
worked together.
That's the term that people who refuse to call themselves a feminist call themselves.
Egalitarian?
Like, I'm not
Yeah.
feminism because feminism turned into some wonky Medusa idea, but I'll be an egalitarian because
Exactly.
that's what you're saying feminism means.
Egalitarianism breaks down somewhere around 300 people. So for whatever reason in human nature, and they've done all kinds of scientific studies on this, if a tribe gets, around that 300, give or take, around that 300 human mark,
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden it gets chaotic.
Oh, that's because power can be grasped
Right.
at that point.
And that's where statism comes in.
Yeah. Machiavelli.
And isn't it funny that the U.S. is around 325 million people? So is that another breaking point, right? Is that why we're seeing this extreme left and extreme right? 300 people seems to break down the democratic, communistic, egalitarian.
You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see how many people on the left and how many people on the right, whatever number that would be for both, the percentage of how much TV that both of those sides consume.
I would hazard to guess that people on the right watch a lot more TV than people on the left.
I mean, yeah, that's what I was thinking too, but
Yeah,
I don't
definitely.
even know how to
I mean,
go about taking
I would guess.
that into effect.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is about leftism, and I asked Yoda this today, and I said, what do you think about the left and the right? Why is it that the leftists, short of the communist revolution in the Soviet Union with Lenin and Mao in China, the lefts really don't ever organize. They're not as... She's dreaming. You see her shaking? She's like running, chasing stuff in her sleep.
You better be having a good dream.
But the right, I mean, look at Hitler. Look at, this fascist. The right seems to be always more organized and structured. And like the Tea Party. The Tea Party was extremely structured.
The NRA, man.
The NRA.
Dude, the NRA with, so they have a list of all the NRA shit that's going to be going through whatever and getting votes on. And they tell you what day and what time and who to call to talk to tell them.
It's like a final machine.
You get a fucking, you're like, okay, I'm in the NRA. Then you get a list. Oh, I need to call on this day and talk to this guy and tell him that he needs to support this or guns.
It's funny.
And it's broken down like that.
It is hilarious you used to say that. You know why? What Yoda was saying today, because I asked him that question. Why does the left seem to be discombobulated and never kind of gets involved? And the extreme right seems to be ultra structured and organized. You know what he said? Generally, the right's always military people, right?
Oh yeah, they know the group.
Exactly. It's
Leftists
structure,
are more
organization.
Individuals.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Sort of.
Leftists are basically, hey, don't bother me and I won't bother you.
Yeah.
And rightists are like, no, I believe this, therefore you need to do this. Blue's my favorite color. Everyone should wear fucking blue. I don't believe in abortion. There should not be any abortions ever. Because I don't believe that.
Yeah. My tax dollars shouldn't go to abortions, but they should go to missiles. That
Exactly.
Are predator drones that are known to kill
Innocent
civilians.
children. What was the percent? Do you remember the percentage?
It's a lot. It's definitely an upsetting. Well, they don't have a specific number, and usually the number that they use is the accumulation of how many people have died since it took place. But here's why the numbers get weird. Because when we factor in the people that we kill and the civilians that take place, nobody ever factors in that place was already... They were already butting heads and killing each other anyways.
Yeah.
So because they're already killing each other, and now we're dropping bombs on them and then killing even more people, people take both of those numbers and combine the two and say that it's all our fault.
I've heard numbers in the 80s to 90 percentile that drones kill innocent people. It's like 80 to 90% they end up missing their target.
Yeah, there was a Vice piece on it. I
Right.
actually talked to a girl about this the other day. Was it a girl? Who was I talking to?
Oh, was this yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh no, it was that GameStop guy.
Who was that GameStop guy?
It was just some dude from.
Who was I talking to about that?
I'm sorry, I can't do this.
I must say, Sean has a pretty good looking haircut.
I can't wait for
Oh
it to
yeah,
fall
because
out,
your girlfriend
bitch.
did it.
No, it really does look good though. I'm just saying.
No, he was talking. You were talking about the how they're just sitting like Idaho or Ohio and.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is how it came about. He was talking about one of the new video games that came out, Ghost Recon. And, she's just gonna go to sleep right there.
She lives there now.
She needs a name. Put some comments.
If you made it this far, hopefully.
Yeah, if you've gotten this far. This okay, so the true
Okay.
fans of the Three Philosophers, she is a maybe, isn't she? Damn it.
Wow.
Good
That's
job.
what, $40 a bottle?
We need to figure
$50 a bottle?
Yeah,
Japanese word for destruction.
Mm.
I'm gonna call you Godzilla.
Godzilla.
That's your
Japanese word of destruction.
Oh.
Yeah.
Godzilla.
Like,
That's
Japanese,
Blue
they
Oyster
always
Cult.
sounds nice. The Japanese words, you're like, oh, that word sounds so nice.
pretty.
What does that mean? It means a crab eats your eyeballs while you're awake. Oh, okay.
Shit's in your grandma's.
Do you have a straw? Like, snort it all up?
I can get one. If you do that, I will surely get one.
Oh, gracias, mi amigos.
Then, oh, he was talking about Ghost Recon, right? How you snipe and the bullets have fall off.
Oh, yeah.
Like actual bullets.
Yeah, from the weight.
And I was like, dude, in 50, 100 years, people won't be fighting anymore. It'll just all be robots that people are controlling
Did
with
I show you
remote
that?
controls.
Who'd I show the soccer robot match? Was it you?
No.
You told me about it
I have
once.
no idea what
No,
you're
I
talking
can't. No, I showed y'all because I saw it in school.
about. Are you sure?
I remember you telling me about it. I
Yes.
don't remember
I have
seeing
no
it,
idea.
but I know what you're talking
No,
about.
it's on YouTube. So there's a global kind of like a almost Olympic type game, and it's all these scientists. Well, they're engineers, right? That make robots, and Apple is there, and like Samsung, and some of it's just private. MIT is there, Caltech, right? And they go to these basically Olympic games, and they play with robots, but it's not remote control, right? The robots have algorithms pre-programmed, and they have artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a referee out there, and he drops the ball, and the robots have sensors, and they look for the ball, and they walk over, and there's different size categories. There's little bitty ones and big ones, and they kick the ball, and they knock each other over, and they get back up, and they play games autonomously.
That's scary.
Those are and dude, one of you two, because I showed this to you on video, and one of you two mentioned that that's how wars are going to be fought in the future.
Oh yeah, I mean, all the way,
I mean, that's Terminator. We're witnessing
I already know
Terminator
that's gonna
war
happen.
robots.
dude. I mean, we're already making exosuits for people.
We've been making exosuits for a while.
There's an autonomous, four-legged robot thing that carries soldiers' backpacks that walks with them, and you can like kick it, and it'll go stabilizing, bling, 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 bling.
Yeah.
And then it'll walk with you. It can go like up and down fucking mountains and shit too.
So talk
And that's
about.
nobody doing anything. That's just, here's a chip, now you do that.
I always go back to this. Every podcast, I'm sorry, I sound like a broken record. Who is controlling this? Who is leading us in these weird, wonky directions as far as like anti-environment and worker bee? I mean, there's someone with an ulterior motive. So you guys had this conversation about consciousness. And last podcast you talked about mushroom consciousness, and then you kind of took it a step further. Was it yesterday or today? Yesterday.
Today, I think. That's what we were talking about.
But basically, kind of what is consciousness, and you know how it occurs, and what's the purpose, kind of the meaning of life stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is it an Anunnaki type situation where we're hybrids? You know, aliens came down and where they gave us a little bit of their DNA into primate earthling monkeys and made us gold miners so that they could mine gold and then split.
Get all their material needs for their planet and just deuces.
Because every ancient civilization has a story that the ruler, the king, was a hybrid, basically. For lack of a better term, they were angels came down and had sex with human people, or the gods directly came down and had sex, or, you know, and then there's chimeras, right? And there's, you know, minotaurs, and there's all these weird experiments, right?
David and the Goliath.
Yeah, could that have been cloning?
Kill you with a fucking slingshot.
And then the other thing is every ancient civilization talked about those leaders who were hybrids, who were not human and not quite God, right? I mean, Noah's supposed to live 600 years.
Yeah.
You know, all these people, and this isn't just a Christian thing, it's not just in the Bible, it's in Sumerian texts, it's in Egyptian texts, it's in Mayan texts, that the old rulers lived way longer than normal people. And then they were taller, right? There's all these stories of giants. You know, there was Native Americans, and supposedly there's a cover-up, if you know, all you conspiracy theorists out there. But all the mounds, like Moundville, Alabama, and all these different Native American mound sites, when they go to look into them, they keep finding 9 and 10 and 13 foot tall skeletons. And then the Native Americans talk about, oh yeah, there were giants. And all that quickly gets brushed aside. But there's actually pictures of this. You can Google this.
Oh yeah.
But there's pictures of this.
I'm sure there is.
And there's all these, look, anecdotal evidence. If there's enough anecdotal evidence, there's a grain of truth in that, right?
Yeah.
If thousands or millions of people say X, even if it's not 100% true, there's a grain of truth in that. The flood story, right? There's the Noah flood story. There's the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Alien abductions.
You know, the Mayans talk about floods.
I mean, how many people say that they've been
Alien
abducted by
abductions.
aliens?
You know, there's got to be something there. You know, if enough people say it, regardless if science can prove it yet or not, or if traditional media says, you know, if there's enough people who say it, there's got to be some, and that's the kind of stuff that fascinates me and makes me curious. You know, and it just baffles me that we don't look deeper into that as traditional mainstream culture.
Yeah, because we brush it aside because this doesn't fall into like Christianity or what we mainly believe in nowadays or modern religion. It's just some crazy fucking bullshit that nobody wants to hear.
But stuff that's weird or different or not a norm has always excited me.
Oh, with me too. But then people will look at you and be like, "Oh no, you're just an Alex Jones conspiracy theorist. You're just an asshole. Don't talk to me."
Obama!
Yeah.
I'm not saying I believe every conspiracy, but I think it's worth looking into.
Yeah, but
I have an open mind.
Sure. If there's fucking historical proof on it and nobody pays attention to it, of course I'm gonna fucking dabble into it. And listen to the crazy people.
You have to ask me because, you know, it's like super cold all of a sudden again in March, and he said, "What do you think? Contrails? You know, is it weather engineering? Is it, are they seeding the clouds? Are they doing manipulation of the weather?
Frequencies in the stratosphere?"
And he said,
like that.
he asked me point blank, what do you think about conspiracy theories? And I'm like, look, honestly, at this point, I think I'm open-minded enough not to immediately say bullshit on anything. I mean, literally anything. Bigfoot, alien abductions. I mean, who knows?
I'll tell you what, Bigfoot.
Now, I'm not saying I believe in any of that, but at the same time, I don't disbelieve.
I'm open to it.
Yeah, at this point in time, who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
I definitely think 9/11 has enough wonky questions to warrant further investigation.
For sure, hands down. Like, why didn't they let the scientists explore the wreck site or get all the materials?
Well, and why do some of the steel support beams have 45-degree angle cut marks in them?
Mm-hmm.
And why is it that?
Why were they finding blast caps?
Why is it that the reason so many firefighters died in 9/11 is there was a call before any of the planes hit. There was a call to the basement in the subway tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is there was multiple, they said sounded like multiple chain reaction blasts, like boom, 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 boom. And some of them were so concussive that people that were in the subway, that got off the subway in the World Trade Center basement, got knocked to the ground and got the breath knocked out of them from the concussions of these explosions.
Why isn't there a documentary?
Oh, there is.
Oh, there's many
of them.
With those people talking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I
interviews.
meant to
They're
say
on Hulu.
documentary.
Oh, totally interviews. And one, I remember this black lady was like, I got knocked into a wall and busted my head. And there was a firefighter talking about, we sent, 12 dudes down to investigate that call, that 911 call. And when they showed up, they were in the basement when the planes hit. They were already there investigating and helping injured people from explosions before any plane hit.
Conspiracies, man. Like, there was one guy who had his windows knocked out.
I don't even know if I'd want to know.
Okay, well, either one of you, do you know where the term conspiracy theory came from? Look this up. It came by the CIA. That term was coined by the CIA after the JFK assassination.
Really?
And it was used as propaganda to discredit people who questioned the assassination. A lot of people started questioning the assassination because they heard shots from the grassy knoll.
Mm-hmm.
And Kennedy come forward with one shot and went back with another shot. And there was enough evidence, people started talking, and instantly the CIA ran a campaign to talk about, that's conspiracy theorists.
A lot of people think Jackie Kennedy killed him with the second shot.
Right? She was right next to him.
And he went down, she grabbed him.
Yeah.
And one guy was like, look, you can see her hand going up to his head. And I was like, what the fuck? No.
But the point is, propaganda is a science, right? And it's very technical. It's very there's a science behind it. It started with Joseph Goebbels, right? In the Nazis, and
I don't know who that is, man.
Joseph Goebbels.
Yeah, no idea.
Joseph Goebbels was the SS propagandist mastermind of the Nazi regime under Hitler.
Oh.
And the propaganda, if you look up propaganda, there's probably a picture of Joseph Goebbels. I mean, he was the mastermind. And then there was what's the guy I always talk about? That's he's Sigmund Freud's nephew. It's gonna kill me.
Sigmund Freud's nephew.
Daniel.
No, he's the guy who he's the great grandfather of marketing. He's the guy in the U.S.
The guy who fucking ruined everybody.
Edward Bernays.
Okay.
So Edward Bernays was the guy in the U.S. I want to say the 20s or 30s.
This is how you get it to sell.
Yeah, exactly. And prior to that time in the U.S., you went to a store because you needed something, and I need washing detergent.
Mm-hmm.
So you bought washing detergent. He came up with a concept and said, no, basically humans are stupid. At you as a corporation, all we need to do is run ad campaigns in newspapers, and this was pre-TV, I think. And we're going to tell people what they need. They don't know. They're dumb. We're going to tell them what they need, and they're going to believe us. We're going to make them believe us, and then they're going to buy shit, and you're going to become rich. I.e., iPhone 17. Superman 27.
You don't have a Lexus?
Exactly.
You don't have an iPhone 17?
Exactly.
Well, fuck yourself, bro.
So there's
iPhone 17 came out yesterday, and you still have the iPhone 16?
Exactly.
What a piece of shit. The camera
What a loser.
Shit.
Wow.
The camera's got 2 more pixels to it.
The camera has graphite crystals in it.
And it licks your balls. Well, I
Makes you
super want that,
breakfast.
though.
But it doesn't make you good breakfast. Not like the Samsung 17.
Exactly.
Yeah. This one makes pancakes, not waffles.
A lot of people talk about time travel, and if they'd go back in time, they'd kill Hitler. I'd go back in time and kill Edward Bernays.
That'd be cool, though. That would be way different.
I mean, how would things be different? People now would go to the store and buy only what they needed, probably.
Here's the thing. So, at the grocery store, everything is always packed. All the vegetables and shit.
Yeah.
More people buy vegetables if it's packed. And if there's less in there,
Nobody buys the last one.
if you need it, you buy it.
Who was that fucking
I don't
celebrity that went
remember
on
that. I feel like I
did a
explained that
Facebook
shitty.
video and was like, quit fucking buying extra shit? What was it?
I don't
Woody
remember.
Harrelson?
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, Zeitgeist.
Yeah.
The Zeitgeist movie.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't seen the Zeitgeist, just YouTube that shit or Google it. Zeitgeist is, I think it's about an hour. Oh, it's on Netflix too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he talks about, and we actually posted on the Philosophers. I posted it on the Philosophers Facebook
exactly
site.
that. Yeah, he goes on talking about like quit fucking.
It's a trap. It's a
buying
rat.
bullshit you don't need.
It does a bunch of things. One, it fucks up the environment. Two, it fucks up our humanity. You lose who you are. I mean, you buy shit, you don't even know why you buy shit, and it doesn't fulfill you. I mean, you buy a new car, you're happy for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
It's hollow.
For sure.
And this is where Russell Brand, that's the next book I'm giving you.
Yeah, I want to read
The
that.
Russell Brand Revolution book is, talks about how he climbed the ladder, got to the top, had everything, had all the women, had all the money, had everything he'd ever dreamed, everything he was told was going to make him happy. He still wasn't happy. And now he's like happy because he's following his inner self. He's looked inside.
Instead of what his wants and needs are.
Most people,
what
and
he believes was.
it's kind of weird. Most people stay in this weird zone, right? They don't look too far outside themselves. They don't look too far into analyzing society or human nature or history or where we might end up in the future, right? That's too far out. That's way
weird
out.
as fuck, dude.
Exactly. That's way outside. But they also don't look inward, right? They don't look in because that scares them, right? They don't look at themselves and say, what do I really fear? What do I really love? What am I really interested in? My sister probably doesn't watch this podcast, I'm sure. So I'm going to go ahead and say that. When she smokes weed, she gets paranoid.
Yeah.
I believe, my theory, is a lot of people who get real paranoid when they smoke weed, specifically sativa, is weed makes you look at things differently, and it also makes your
brain work
introspective.
harder.
Right? It makes you look inside yourself, and a lot of people don't want to look inside themselves. They don't want to question their demons. They don't want to, go too deep. Right? They want to stay. Remember Hitch?
Yeah.
Remember when Will Smith was telling what's his name, Kevin James, because of the dancing thing, he was like, "This is you. You just stay right here. Don't do all crazy. This is you right here." That's how most people in society are. They're in this small little zone. They don't go too deep inward. They don't get too introspective and question their morality, their thoughts, their desires. But they also don't look too far outward and question, why are we here? What's going on with society? What's going on with right? Yeah. They're in this weird little shallow comfort zone.
They're in limbo.
They're in limbo. They're in purgatory, and that's where
That information's also not readily available.
what's not ready.
Being able to easily explore externally and internally.
Oh, it absolutely is.
I mean, not for normal people, man.
If you question
You know what I
who
mean?
am I, what I want to be,
You can,
easily
anyone
look it
can
up.
go on YouTube and pull up yoga exercises. Anyone can go on YouTube and pull up spirit science, sacred geometry.
Yeah, but that
Yeah.
stuff is not in. That's in a different category. That's supposed to be inside with science.
No, I disagree. I think today anyone.
That's hocus pocus stuff.
Well, that's conditioning.
To some people.
You know.
Don't be conditioned.
How many TV stars and movie stars, promote that kind of stuff? And
You know
then how
how
many
many
stars and movie stars promote living inside that little box and being a
What's-
fucking Kardashian?
What's the blonde lady that has a talk show that's a comedian that's kind of sarcastic, a little bitchy? That's her kind of claim to fame.
Is she a lesbian?
No, that's Ellen DeGeneres.
bitchy?
Okay, good. That's what I was thinking about.
She
She has a crunk.
I'm
No,
thinking
she doesn't.
Samantha Bee, but she's not bitchy.
No. She does some kind of like a daytime, like an Oprah type show. You know what I'm talking about?
I think I know what you're talking about.
Blonde hair, real sharp and snappy on her guests,
Oh, shit.
and she was a comedian. You know who I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
She did ayahuasca.
Really?
If Lindsay Lohan did ayahuasca.
Yeah, now she's not a fucking psycho.
So, contrary to your point, I think a lot of celebrities are starting to wake up. Russell Brand, Woody Harrelson.
I think if you want to look at that information, it's available.
It's available.
You just need to go and pursue it. You need to be open-minded.
Yeah, but it's not
You got to be
promoted.
ready for it.
Ooh, flea. Well, it's funny you should say that because I think that's the whole purpose of this podcast.
We're providing information that's readily available.
If you're interested in this kind of stuff, go Google it.
Mm-hmm.
Google sacred geometry. Google spirit science. YouTube this shit. Zeitgeist.
Kinda funny.
Venus Project.
My mom was watching a YouTube video on sacred geometry.
Really?
And I was like, oh yeah, me and Jason were talking about that. And I was like, this and this and this. And she was like, oh, I already know about it. This is the second time I'm watching this.
Fibonacci sequence.
Okay, look, so I had that base idea of mushrooms. I wasn't able to articulate it, but I was, trying to figure out how to do it. And then as I was watching some sacred geometry shit, one of the people talking about it was like, when you draw the shape, something happens and you just understand more. And I was like, pause, trace. And I did it like 5 or 6 times. And then I just left it on the floor. And then a couple days after that is when... But I also think that had to do a lot with me being high as fuck.
Did you see, because I posted on the Three Philosophers website, our Facebook site, is a team grew a garden. Did you see that yet? It's a little video and a team, I forget, it's
Is it like
somewhere in Latin
a
America.
garden with crazy patterns?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at that earlier.
That they put
I
it
didn't watch
in
it.
sacred geometry. And apparently the efficiency on how the plants interact and how fast they grew is like crazy.
Astronomical, crazy.
Yeah.
That makes sense though.
So I'm very excited, speaking of awakening and how we want all our listeners and viewers and our fans to get woke. Mr. Sean, tell us about the 2 books you read.
Oh, one book that I've read.
Well, you're
finished
1
it.
and a half.
Yeah, I'm on the first chapter of the second book.
So tell us about the first one.
The first book is Rick Strassman.
Yep.
About DMT, and it kind of opened my mind.
The spirit
up.
molecule.
Yeah. And listening to everybody's stories and his theories just was mind blowing. I mean, it's crazy. I still go on and say that one of my favorite stories is when the guy gets raped by alligators.
Oh, God.
It was just so random. It was like one of my stories was not as spiritual as some. And then one guy was just like, I'm getting fucked by alligators. He's like, well, it's a good thing we didn't have the thermometer in your butt. No, it's a really, really good book, and I need to go back and look at the last story. The last story, if you read that book, you can get it at fucking Barnes and Nobles. But the last experience somebody had was just fucking poetic. That this drug that our body creates, we believe, is just fucking mind blowing. That takes you to other dimensions or galaxies and places. And in every person that had a bad or good experience found some kind of light at the end of the tunnel, which is also mind-blowing. That guy who got raped by an alligator became more successful, had better health, and rightened his path. I mean, it's just a fucking crazy book.
Yeah, so those listeners out there, it's called DMT, The Spirit Molecule by Rick Strassman.
Yeah.
And he was a psychologist who did studies backed by the DEA and the FDA on DMT, and he used it on patients intravenously and studied in a clinical environment scientifically on what the effects and benefits, if there are any, of DMT.
Yeah.
It's a really good book, and they also made a documentary of it, and Joe Rogan makes a cameo.
I'm gonna watch it.
Oh, it's good.
Just this fucking, the way he was talking about just getting DMT and getting it made was just fucking, it gets you, it sucks you in. It's just like, oh my god, man, that's such a fucking piece of shit. Why does it jump through so many hoops?
Exactly.
And here's the cool part about that, though. Because when you get funded, you have a person above you that you gotta ask questions to make sure it's cool with the money that's coming in. So when he was deciding X value of how much drug he was gonna give people, he was like, "This is too much. This is too little. I'm not sure." So he went up to the dude who was in charge of the money and was like, "Hey man, what should I do?" And the guy was like, "I don't fucking know. You're the expert on DMT."
Yeah. And then the FDA was trying to get more information on how it was made.
Again, it begs the question of what do the powers that be fear from marijuana, LSD, DMT, ayahuasca, etc., that they're so scared and they create this layered bureaucracy that cock blocks the scientists from getting to the truth.
I think scientists or some people are just scared of the truth. They just don't want to know.
They're living in that shallow end. They don't want to go out. They don't want to go deep.
They just want to be comfortable.
I just want to watch March Madness.
What's that?
Basketball.
I just want to watch NFL.
You didn't know what March Madness is? It's all over fucking the internet and everything.
So tell us about the second book.
Second book, Food of the Gods. Oh my
Terrence
god.
McKenna.
Now, first
I
off,
thought that was Graham Hancock.
No.
That's Fingerprints of the Gods.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's the other book that I'm about to read.
What? Wait a minute. How many of my books you got? I forget what you grabbed.
Fingerprints of the Gods.
And the Bhagavad Gita.
And
I got it.
DMT.
Oh, you borrowed that one from me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I read the first.
If anybody,
I couldn't go any further.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Who's gonna go out and find that book, it's a little difficult to find. But if you find it, there's another thing. It's when you open it, you think you're gonna read a normal book that's very easy to dive into and understand. It took me 20 minutes to read the first chapter, and I'm not even done with the first chapter. Because you read the way he writes and the way he articulates his sentences is just so fucking hard to understand. You have to go
almost
back.
like stream of consciousness.
You have to go back and fucking reread it and be like, okay, now I get it. Continue on. Oh fuck, I don't know what you're talking about again. But he starts out immediately. He was in the Amazon and learning about shamanism and all the different drugs and why they're this way and how in tune with the land they are. And he did all this shit with his brother, which is even cooler.
I'm so happy he's into this now.
You're welcome.
I'm loving it.
But it's a great fucking book so far.
Have you YouTubed any of this shit yet?
I YouTubed the Stone Ape Theory with you. That's about it.
I mean, how he talks.
He's all over the place.
His tone of voice, and he's so interesting.
He's the way he
Kinda
talks
like Alan
is almost like a
Watts.
comedian.
Yeah, dude, I love
I mean, if you listen to
both of
Alan
them.
Watts, just how they speak, the cadence.
It just sucks you in.
I know you're not
Immediately
supposed to have
sucks you in.
heroes, but that he's a hero.
Okay, real quick. So,
Idol.
top 5 people who have been most influential in your growth, or that you idol, or that you look up to, Sean.
Me?
Top 5.
Not in order.
Yeah, no specific order. Just five random people who you look up to, influence you, or you idolize in some way.
Oh, well, then one's Joe Rogan. A lot of these might be comedians because I idolize comedians. Joe Rogan. Right now, another top 5 would probably be Rick Strassman. Because that dude's just fucking funny and just all around smart. And continuously wanting to dive in the unknown. I love that. Jordan Peterson. Just because he's a fucking asshole. I love that.
An asshole?
Yeah. Oh, he's a huge asshole. It's awesome. Another one is, I don't fucking know. Was it 3?
You got 2 more.
Well, these are people that don't have to deal with any spirituality. Just funny, like
Yeah.
Tom Segura and George Carlin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brett, top 5.
Christopher Hitchens,
Of course.
Alan Watts, Terrence McKenna, Sam Harris, and George Carlin.
Who's the atheist guy that you were?
Wait, which one? I
Christopher
listen to a
Hitchens.
lot of atheist people.
But the one guy that you were talking about, all the YouTube stuff.
Oh yeah, Richard Dawkins.
Oh, yeah.
Duh.
Did you already say that?
No, well, Richard Dawkins and Sam Harris kind of fall in the same category, and Christopher Hitchens.
Yes. Christopher Hitchens, yeah.
Just intellectuals who they're word wizards.
Oh yeah.
George Carlin.
Where they
probably
talk
number
and
one.
they're like, you're like, whoa, that concept is. I just obtained all of it just from those words. I didn't have to think about it.
Okay, I'm gonna go with. Damn it! I don't know if I can squeeze 5.
Oh, it's hard.
One is.
Oh, and me.
One is, and maybe Tess Matthews listens to this. I don't know, but Nicky Matthews is a guy that I grew up with. That's a friend of my mom's, and this dude is like lumberjack, 6'6", red hair, giant dude that lived in McClellan, Alabama, and they lived. His wife Sparrow had both of her kids, which are your age, on her front porch, natural childbirth.
Talk about that.
Modern day. They had an outhouse, lived off the land, but this was probably one of the most brilliant people I've ever met, and I met him in person. I mean, literally like a Terrence McKenna, Alan Watts type dude. How they made money is he would rebuild engines, literally hanging a chain off an oak tree, do drywall, do carpentry, do tile work, whatever. But I remember I was probably 10 or 11, and I was out there because I was a troubled child. My mom sent me out there for the weekend, or for the summer, and they lived completely off the land, like no salt, no sugar, and the food was bland. They had goats and horses and co-ops, and it was really weird, and I was like rebelling. But we sat, I remember vividly, and I'm like, I was probably about 14, and we're sitting on his front porch, and he's like, oh, that's like a red-bellied something bird.
A regular hornswoggle.
Yeah, and it's like the dude intimately knew car combustion engines inside out. He could strip them down, rebuild them, put them back together. He had this comic book collection, 3,000 comic books, and he could tell you everything about every comic book ever written. At the same time, he could look at a tree and tell you exactly what the medicinal value was, blah, 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 blah. He plays guitar, mandolin, violin, drums, sings,
That's crazy.
you know, paints. I mean, the dude is a literal, like, Renaissance man. You know, and it was like a huge influence to me as a child. So, Nicky Matthews, Tess, if you're out there watching this, that's your daddy. Mike Stanglin, Sean, Daniel, Shelley, if you guys watch this, is another guy I grew up, which was like really obsessive, kind of crazy. But when we were like 7 or 8 years old, he decided, you know, I'm going to be into sailing. Bought a catamaran and like raced catamarans and won. Dropped sailing. I'm going to be a musician. Going to be the best mandolin player that ever lived. Hand built a mandolin at work at a chemical factory out of metal, and he wasn't even a welder, but he figured out how to do it and made a mandolin out of steel. Then said, you know what, I'm bored with that. I'm going to be a bird watcher. You know, I'm going to be a vegan. I'm going to be this. I'm going to be that. Just huge influence on me. Okay, so those are the two personal people. Definitely Joe Rogan, right?
Hands down.
In with that, I'm going to like a tie. Aubrey Marcus and Duncan Trussell are kind of all in that category.
Yeah, that falls in.
Graham Hancock, Alan Watts, Ram Dass.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
I wish you gave me that question beforehand so I could have thought about it.
The Dalai Lama.
Oh yeah.
Did you see?
Guess what? He might be the last one. He said.
Yeah.
Did you see the
Isn't that?
I saw that.
John
Yeah,
Oliver
sad.
thing about the Dalai Lama?
Yeah,
That's
it was
fucking
brilliant. Wasn't it?
Crazy.
It was
yeah.
brilliant. Along those lines, man, John Oliver, Bill Maher, and
Bill Maher.
Bill Maher.
um,
John Oliver's one of my favorite comedians as well.
John
actors.
Stewart.
Yeah. Everybody kind of forgot about John Stewart.
No.
John Stewart created John Oliver.
Yeah. That was John Stewart
created,
was his
like
boss.
everybody.
Yeah, what was
In the
that?
news.
What's the other guy? Stephen Colbert. John
Yeah.
Stewart created Stephen Colbert.
You don't see much of him anymore either.
Yeah, he's on.
I don't know if this story's true or not, but
Well, you don't care.
I think Stephen
How many
Colbert said that he was just working somewhere and Jon Stewart was like, "You want a job?" And then he started working at the Daily Show.
Well, now Stephen
Like
Colbert.
randomly.
Stephen Colbert took Jay Leno's spot.
Stephen Colbert won TV.
Yeah.
Like all of TV. He
Yeah.
won it.
Yeah.
He
Because
wins.
he's like a funnier Steve Carell.
Yeah. You guys should see the documentary on Bill Hicks.
I watched it.
Oh yeah.
I already watched it. He's a fucking comedic.
Is it
genius.
amazing?
He's a comedic.
What about when they
genius.
kept doing mushrooms all the time
That shit was crazy.
and how it changed his life?
I need to rewatch it again because I think I fell.
Is it on
asleep
Netflix or Hulu? Both.
Hulu.
If you guys haven't seen this, I think it's on Netflix, but it's definitely on Hulu.
Definitely on Hulu.
Is the documentary for Bill Hicks, the
Yeah.
comedian, and his life story. And he died of cancer at like 32.
He was in his 30s when he died.
But same situation, same theme that we always cover in our podcast, very similar to Russell Brand, is the fact that he started kind of a semi-normal life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And got to a certain point with celebrity, got disillusioned with celebrity,
Dropped it.
did mushrooms, started talking about the truth, and got nowhere in the U.S., and where he got all his money and claim to fame was Europe.
Yeah. Oh, more open-minded country.
You know, once he starts doing some shrooms, he starts getting a little bit deeper, starting to thinking about, you know, why are we here? What's the meaning of life? And his comedy was reflecting that. He goes to Europe. They loved it.
Yeah, because they're not fucking right-wings. You don't have a bunch of right.
You know, Texas, where he lived, they were like, fuck you, that's stupid.
Jesus.
Give me a Bud Light.
You need to go to church. Talk to
That
Jesus.
isn't good beer. And I don't even like beer.
And you know what? All that fucking rednecks that preach to Anheuser, here's some fucking mind-blowing news. They're not American either.
Yeah, they're owned by Heineken, right?
No. Well, I don't know about that. Anheuser, the guy, came here from Germany.
Oh, yeah, he was totally, yeah.
Super German.
Well, yeah.
And created
all
Anheuser-Busch.
the beer,
That's why it's a
all
Pilsner.
the beer came from Germans and Czechs.
Yeah.
Schlitz,
Germans, Czechs, Polacks.
Schlitz, Anheuser-Busch.
Russians. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
All that
all, yeah.
Yeah, so
They were immigrants.
next time you want to say you want a good-hearted American Bud Light, just Remember, it's not.
Yeah, that was from a freaking immigrant. Which
German.
is now owned by a European conglomerate.
You remember when they tried to change Bud Light's name to America for a little while?
They did do that,
They
and
did.
it's stupid.
They super did, and we carried it. We carried the America beer.
I wish I would have kept a couple of those cans.
Should've.
That would have been dope as fuck.
It's
How
worth
far
the
are we?
money. Hour 10.
Far enough.
Let's
Yeah.
do this, yo.
Do
Okay,
some bitches.
please name this beautiful little puppy.
Oh my gosh, she's gorgeous.
We will name, seriously, if we have some hardcore followers that actually watch us, that
Me
get
and
this
Brett's
far in,
love child.
that get an hour into this podcast, we will name this sweet little pit bull,
Yeah, and for all the
puppy.
people that think pit bulls are vicious, you can go fuck yourself.
but we will name her based on you guys' comments. So
Yeah,
comment.
for real though. We'll pick a favorite comic.
And this will be the
name.
Three Philosophers mascot.
Yeah.
We'll take a little picture of her and we'll put it on the profile pic of the Facebook page.
Is that what she's gonna
Oh,
do?
I was telling lady I'm talking to that to be a responsible dog owner, one of the new prerequisites, because we live in 2017, is you're supposed to open up a Facebook account for your dog.
On that note, we're gonna say
I'm
bye-bye.
digging this little beard thing he's got. Are you trimming that shit? What's going? It's like very angular and Spanish conquistador.
Look, man,
like.
I
It just grows like that.
I-
On its
It
own.
pointed like that.
Would
Yeah.
rather
It's like
him.
pointed.
Look, it grows like this on its own, and
You're such a fucking
it also
hipster.
Fu Manchus
Thank you.
itself.
That
Thank
is a
you.
hipster beard.
And if he shaves it, I'd rather him have that.
It Fu
Then shave
Manchus itself too. I don't
You're not doing any manscaping.
I'll fucking
beardscaping.
do shit.
Dude, he looks like Sacha
just-
Baron Cohen if he
it's
shaves
just-
that shit. He looks like Borat.
My beard is predestined
We're
so
heading
I
out,
can
people.
just have the
Deuces.
We love you.
Bye.
Subscribe.
Pondering.
Patreon.
Patreon.
Patreon us. Give us some money.
Sucking on my titties. Good job, boys.
That was a good one.
Enjoying it?
I think we're getting better.
Yeah, we're getting better.